Temperatures reached the mid-80s today in Los Angeles, and tonight a big game has just gotten bigger with the Spurs losing their 5th in a row as we welcome you to the Staples Center. The NBA on TNT is presented by the United States Marine Corps. The Dallas Mavericks looking to vault over the Lakers into the second spot in the West, and the Lakers now just 2 games behind the Spurs in the loss column. And a playoff atmosphere indeed. As we welcome you, Dick Stockton along with Reggie Miller and the Czar, Mike Fratello with us as well. And right now, let's take a look at the starting lineups presented by Budweiser for the Mavericks, who have won 5 in a row and boasting the best road record in the NBA. And the Lakers, 15-1 since the All-Star break. 2 hot teams. No question there is a playoff atmosphere here. As we're set to go now, Kobe Bryant, and it's interesting that the Mavericks and the Lakers, who could meet in the second round, have not played in postseason since 1988, and they could meet this year.
Well, what's interesting to me early on is going to be the matchup of Dirk Nowitzki and Pau Gasol. Phil Jackson saying he really wants to move Dirk defensively. He feels that at times he can become a clog defensively. He's got to make him work so his offense suffers a little bit.
And I think the tempo of this game becomes key. Dallas would like to speed it up a little bit. The Lakers would like to play the majority of the game in their half-court offense.
This is the 3rd and final game of the regular season. The teams have split the first 2. Both played in Dallas. Bryant guarded by Beaubois, and Kobe misses the first shot of the game. The officials tonight are Joe Crawford, Sean Wright, and Marat Kogan.
It's also interesting listening to Phil Jackson, and he was like, well, you know, if San Antonio loses tonight and it's only 2.5 with only 8 or 9 to play, it makes it very interesting as Marion with the spin baseline gets the first 2 of the game to go.
Sean Marion has had 2 good games against the Lakers with 25 and 22 points and has been a big-time scorer lately for the Mavericks. Pau Gasol shooting over Nowitzki. Gasol coming off a 23-point, 16-rebound, and 4-block game in the win Sunday over New Orleans.
Rich, there's the matchup that you were concerned about, and Pau Gasol is just a gifted offensive player that he will be a handful for Dirk Nowitzki.
And here's Beaubois missing a 3. And here come the Lakers with Artest with the ball. Phil Jackson said, I definitely want to finish ahead of Dallas and get home court in case we meet, as Kobe Bryant hits the field goal.
And the first shot that Kobe took, Beaubois was happy as could be. 3-pointer, he can live with that. What happens the next time down? Kobe goes right into the post.
Nowitzki hitting over Gasol. Dirk Nowitzki coming in as the 9th leading scorer in the league.
It's something we're going to see all night. Dirk has the advantage if he can take Pau away from that middle area, and Pau certainly has the advantage if he can take Dirk down low.
And a foul as Beaubois committing the foul on Kobe Bryant. The Mavericks winning last night, beating the Clippers on this floor 106-100. And Rick Carlisle's team 3-0 in a 6-game road trip, and they have dominated the Pacific Division team.
And that's one of those games as a coach that you're so concerned about, trying to get that team up for the Clippers when you know you're playing against the Lakers the next night.
Well, they got down early, and listening to Rick Carlisle, he said we played all 12 guys in that first half, and it certainly shows you they weren't up early against the Clippers, but found a way to win a spectacular second half for the Mavericks last night against the Clippers.
Good hustle by Tyson Chandler, and there is Jason Kidd. And his 3 will go as it hit the top of the backboard and went through Jason Kidd.
How about Tyson Chandler? Right down the middle of the floor. A long, beautiful lead pass that time by Kidd. Then dives on the floor to come up with the loose ball.
Nowitzki on Gasol. No surprise there. And Artest misses a 2-point attempt. Chandler with the outlet pass to Sean Marion, who lost possession and now losing it out of bounds is Beaubois, turning it over again to the Lakers. The current 5-game winning streak, and you can see how dominant the Mavericks have been, and they have done well from 3-point range. Here is Kobe Bryant in the lane, and Bryant with his 2nd field goal of the game, and the Mavericks lead is cut to 1.
Reggie, could that mean short minutes tonight if this winds up being Kobe abusing Bourbois early in the game, that they may have to sub for defensive purposes?
Well, it's interesting because we talked to Carlisle about that, and Deshaun Stevenson, who had started a bulk of the games early when Bourbois was hurt with that broken foot, just gives them a little bit more defensively as Kobe gets called for the carry.
So they turn it over.
There it is right there. You can't let that ball rest on your hand. If you put your hand underneath the ball and turn it over, that's going to be a carry.
Nowitzki misses, and the long rebound out to Chandler, and the new clock for the Mavericks. And here is Kidd with a three and hits it. Jason Kidd. And talking about Kidd, Rick Carlisle said Bourbois and Kidd would start out early on Kobe Bryant. So the second three-pointer for Jason Kidd, giving the Mavericks a 4-point lead. Here is Derek Fisher hitting his first shot of the game.
Jason Kidd elected to go under the two screens right there. You got to stay attached to Derek Fisher.
This Maverick team in the playoffs for the 11th straight year, and 11 straight years with 50 or more wins. Can they finally win a title? Dirk Nowitzki going strong inside, and a 4-point Maverick lead.
Just a little ball fake, got Gasol up in the air, and you have to respect his shot so much it led to the open drive.
Here's Gasol over Nowitzki. Those two going at it early on, each having 4 points.
So who's going to stop who, Coach?
No, this is a trade-off. This is a trade-off.
And coming right back for the Mavericks is Bourbois.
And that's the one thing Rick Carlisle says. That's the one dimension that Bourbois has on his team that no one else has. He has that different gear that he can go to and get into the paint.
Here is Bynum working on Chandler in the lane. And the ball winds up in the hands of Pau Gasol, who hits another one. Pau Gasol, hot early, has 6 points on 3-for-3 shooting. And the Mavericks up by 2.
Both of these teams, you've got the Mavericks shooting 60% and the Lakers shooting 60%. Who's going to play defense first?
Double team on Bourbois. Kidd with a quick touch pass to Nowitzki. And the Lakers bringing it up. But the Mavericks, who have improved lately defensively as part of their story of their 5-game winning streak, get back defensively. Fisher misses the shot. And now it's a 3-on-1, and Bourbois very nearly saw the ball go out of bounds. Alley-oop, Chandler from Kidd. And Tyson Chandler with the basket, and all 5 Maverick players who started have scored.
That would be a hard basket to describe the way it happened there, because it looked like it went off a hand, the glass, and then got tipped in.
Here's Artest, and Phil Jackson telling us that Artest has been better offensively later, and it's a 1-point game.
Well, he's incorporated him, put more isolations to make Ron feel more a part of the offense. This is the best month stretch I've seen Ron Artest play for this Laker team.
Lakers looking to take the lead. Kobe Bryant driving in against 2 defenders. Gets another shot from the baseline, and it goes, and the Lakers have taken a 17-16 lead.
You know, this Laker team plays at a different pace. I don't know if you thought that was a fast break or not. It was kind of a slow transition opportunity at first. But the Lakers right near the bottom of the league at fast break points. They don't run a whole lot.
Sean Marion and Artest, very tough defender out there. 2 on the shot clock. Nowitzki hits the basket at the shot clock buzzer. Dirk Nowitzki now with 6, leading the Mavericks, who regain the lead.
Ball moves side to side, then you give it to Bourbois, who's able to get into the paint. Dirk knocking down his 3rd field goal.
And a timeout, a feverish start here in the first quarter.
This is the basket we talked about. Watch this lob pass. Kidd throws the lob. It goes up over the top of Gasol. Chandler winds up. That's the guy we're supposed to go to. And tips it back in.
Each team 57% on 8-for-14 shooting.
Here, hello everyone, I'm Cheryl Miller. It has been 3 months since Caron Butler had knee surgery. I was told that he is a month ahead of schedule. Now his workouts have been basically riding on a stationary bike, underwater treadmill, and running. Now I was told that his only on-court workout consisted of shooting, but guys, he is very, very hopeful that he'll be back for the playoffs.
And what a plus that would be for the Mavericks if he could get into playoff form early. Here is Derek Fisher in with the layup. Meanwhile, Jason Terry of the Mavericks, Lamar Odom of the Lakers have come into the game, both the two strongest candidates for Sixth Man of the Year awards, both in there now.
Because the Lakers are so big and so good on the offensive boards, they're like third best in the league offensive rebounding. You see the lob there, Chandler with the finish. Nice job by Marion seeing him. But because of that, Chandler was so reluctant to leave his man Bynum and rotate to the wide open layup attempt.
The reason why he didn't leave is because they were in that matchup zone that the Mavs have been utilizing all season. Now they're back to that traditional man-to-man.
Peja Stojakovic also checking in for Dallas. Here is Odom's shot off the glass, and Tyson Chandler with a good block out of Bynum. And retying his shoes, here is Stojakovic missing a three from the corner. Chandler already down court. There he is at the free throw line. And Fisher off the mark. Artest battling, knocks it out of bounds, and it's last touched by Dallas. So the six-man candidates, and here are ours, as if that's going to mean a lot, but just our opinions about it. Lamar Odom and Terry, two of the top.
Well, I like what Lamar has done all season, though. He spent a lot of time as Kobe gets into the paint and gets fouled by Chandler. I just think Lamar, even though he spent quite an amount of time in the starting lineup because of the injury to Andrew Bynum, what he does for this Laker team, from rebounding, points, running the floor, defense at that 7-foot frame is very valuable.
I respect your two
Thank you.
opinions, and yours too, Cheryl. I respect. Mine was a little different.
But you like yours?
Well, because tonight Glenn Davis had 16 points tonight in the game.
So in other words, you respect your opinion more than anyone else.
I was trying to make that point, Dick. Exactly. Okay. Remember when they were shorthanded, going through tough times, big people out, hurt, O'Neal out, missing bodies. Big Baby came back and gave it to him.
All right. Unfortunately, the viewers can't vote for home. You'll just have to take our word for it. So Steve Blake has come in the game for Derek Fisher, and Blake guarding Terry, and Phil Jackson likes that matchup to try to nullify Jason Terry, coming in as the second leading scorer at over 16 a game for the Mavs. Here is Terry in the lane, pull back and hits.
Yeah, Phil Jackson likes Blake to chase Jason Terry, and he also likes Shannon Brown and his size to go against J.J. Barea, another offensive player off the bench for Rick Carlisle.
2-point lead for Dallas, and the bank shot by Bynum. His first points of the game, ties it with nearly 3 minutes to go in the first.
So they are really trying to establish Bynum as a post-offensive threat, more than just occasionally.
Terry gets it back from Kidd. Kidd over Blake for three, and the rebound by Odom. Lakers looking to take the lead. It's been a tight game. Biggest lead. Dallas had 4-point edge. Lakers 2. Pass inside. Double team. And a great persistence by Andrew Bynum, and the Lakers lead it.
Rick Carlisle was upset. He felt that Bynum was down low, and he walked either 3 seconds or he walked. A great pass there by Kobe Bryant.
What a factor he's been since coming back from his suspension.
You want your bigs to run. Andrew Bynum at the front of the rim, taking on 3 Mavericks. Lakers up by 2.
We have big guys, but we're different. We start myself and Dirk, and Dirk's, more of a perimeter big, and then Haywood comes off the bench, whereas they have 7-footers, really 2 centers. Gasol is just so skilled that, once they get going and you allow them to attack the boards and you allow them to get, deep position, they're very hard to stop.
Look, and Pau Gasol, who may be, I think he is the most skilled big man that there is in the NBA right now, because yes, he's so good inside, either hand, lefty or righty. You see the foul take place. However, he also has the capability of going out 17, 18 feet, making that jump shot, and then putting it on the floor, righty or lefty, to take it to the rim.
On the bench right now, and Stojakovic was fouled and going to the line, and Shannon Brown and Matt Barnes have both come into the game for the Lakers, and Brendan Haywood replaces Tyson Chandler. And you just got finished hearing Tyson Chandler talking about Haywood. Here's the look at the upcoming national TV schedule. ESPN Friday doubleheader starts at 7:30. NBC TV Saturday, and you can go to NBA.com/fan night. Vote for the matchup on April 5th. Sunday, a doubleheader on ABC begins at 12:30.
Reggie, I thought you had a great question before Rick Carlisle when we met with him, asking him, could you play Haywood together with Tyson Chandler? We see Blake turn the corner, missed that laser.
Tipped in by Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol now has 8 points.
Yeah, but going back to Rick's answer was, you know, we probably could try that. However, we don't want to take ourselves out of what we do just because we're trying to be big as they are.
Well, I think that's why the Mavericks collected all this size. Jan Mahin, the young kid from France, along with Haywood as well as Chandler, they stock size to go against the Lakers.
Small team in there for the Lakers right now against a smallish Dallas team. As Jason Kidd trying to knock the ball away from Odom. And the three-point attempt missed by Shannon Brown. And here come the Mavericks. We've had 5 ties and 7 lead changes in the game. And there's Terry with the fall away. Terry 4 points off the bench. And the game is tied at 26 as we approach a minute remaining in the first quarter. Kidd is defending Shannon Brown. Marion on Odom. Blake penetrating. Good feet in, and they're going to call the foul before the shot. As Pau Gasol got the feed from Blake.
Look at Brendan Haywood right here. And this is what you want. You want him to come over to challenge the shot, but you've got to be on a string defensively. Someone has to drop down and take Pau off the boards.
If you want your big man to rotate, protect the basket, you have to protect his back. You can't make him wind up looking embarrassed all night with guys tipping it in.
J.J. Barea comes into the game for the first time, and Dirk Nowitzki, who has 6 points on 3 for 5 shooting, checks back in. 8 on the shot clock. And Lamar Odom with the line drive basket, giving the Lakers the 2-point lead, his first points.
Oh, there goes my 6th man of the year right there, Pick.
Oh, you're giving it out already, huh?
Here's Barea in the lane, flips it up. Haywood trying to keep it alive. It comes down to the Lakers. Differential of about 14 seconds. Nowitzki and Gasol again matched up as the shot clock. Pau Gasol off the rim. Barnes fighting for the loose ball. Comes down to Barea. And playing for the last shot of this first quarter. The Lakers leading by 2. What has been a tight, taut game with so much riding on it. And a foul. And it is not a shooting. There was a foul to give for the Lakers. And so for Odom, though, that is his 2nd foul since he's come into the game. 7.6 on the shot clock. Here is Terry for 3. Nowitzki has it blocked by Gasol. And this goes off the rim, and that'll do it for a hard-fought first quarter here at Staples Center in Los Angeles. So much riding on this matchup with the Lakers leading the Mavericks 28-26.
Back to Los Angeles, where it is a 2-point lead. It's time for the Forward Coach's Corner, and with me is Coach Rick Carlisle. And Coach, to talk about that first quarter defensively, did you like where you guys were at?
I don't think either team liked their defense very much. But look, it's 2 good teams that when they get in the flow, they're going to be able to make shots. We got to contest better. When there is penetration, we got to help and help the helper. And these guys are monsters, so we got to get bodies on bodies and keep them off the boards.
You talked about it's going to be very important for you guys to come up with the hustle plays. Were you able to do that?
I think both teams are scrambling pretty good. There haven't been a lot of scramble plays per se. But, you know, in the next 36 minutes there will be, and we got to win them.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Shannon Brown picks up his first personal foul as the Lakers shooting 54% in the first quarter to 46 for the Mavericks. Terry trying to get it up there, but it was knocked away as he was surrounded by 3 Lakers. Brown with Barnes. Blake. Here is the pass in to Barnes, and he was pushed by Barea for the first Maverick foul of the second quarter. Here's the shooting story. Rebounds even and assists practically even.
Well, if you're Rick Carlisle, you have to be encouraged about one thing: points in the paint. This is a Maverick team that's 29th with points in the paint, and already they're even with the Los Angeles Lakers, a team that likes to force it down your throat, Coach, by throwing the ball inside.
The other thing, obviously, the Lakers talked about this coming into the game. When the small guards are on the floor for Dallas, they go after them. They post them up in the mismatch.
And talk about a scramble. Look, you're going to have a jump ball there. A good hustle. The Lakers have dominated the rebounding story, coming in third in the league off the glass. Here's the loose ball. Boy, Barea did a good job of holding on to it with Blake all over.
Well, J.J. Barea is looking for a foul. He went to the official, Murat Kogan, and was asking him where was the foul. Blake had me in a WWF chokehold.
Well, the Mavericks turn it over their first two possessions to open the second quarter. We were talking about the rebounding, where the Lakers are third in the league, third in offensive boards, and the Mavericks are holding their own in that department.
And that was one of the keys. Last time they played, Rick Carlisle said we did a good job of boxing out, but they still went over us because they're so long.
Blake foul driving to the basket.
Not quite sure who pushed him in the back. Was that Peja or was that J.J. Barrera?
That was Stojakovic. Peja Stojakovic, who had a string of starts. Lately, it's been Marion as the starter.
That's what Phil Jackson is doing, trying to pound and establish a low post threat through Andrew Bynum.
He can do it with those big guys.
To me, he just seems so much more confident now operating in the low post there. I mean, he catches it and it looks like he's saying, I'm scoring right now. That's it, simple.
Lakers are up by 4, and they call a Laker foul.
Again, establishing your big man. And right now, Phil Jackson has made it a point to go at Haywood and Chandler down low.
And Blake committing the foul. Here's Nowitzki with the shot. Dirk Nowitzki with the field goal. He now has 8 points. Leads the Mavericks. Pau Gasol with 8 tops the Lakers.
You better not switch out on Nowitzki with the small guard, because he doesn't hesitate. He gets that ball up high over his head. He shoots it and makes most of them.
Kobe Bryant scored 7 points in the first quarter. Feed inside. Very impressive by Barnes.
By bringing Barnes back, what happens is it gives the Lakers one more guy with a little bit of nastiness. You know, Kobe's tough-minded. You know, Artesta's tough-minded. Barnes gives him one more guy that's a little nasty out there.
His Lakers are his 8th team in 8 seasons. Well-traveled, but a valuable guy. Here's Nowitzki looking for at least a foul. Gets nothing out of it. And Blake brings it up for the Lakers with 2.5 gone by in the second quarter. 4-point lead for the Lakers. And a 3 by Blake. Offensive rebound. Bynum! Bynum! Lakers with their biggest lead of the game.
And it's all been about the inside presence. Here, Matt Barnes takes the ball with the finish and second shot opportunities. Andrew Bynum, a man among boys tonight.
In the Reese's College All-Star Game. Catch all the action live from Houston tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern, only on True TV. The Lakers opening up their biggest lead of 6 points with Kobe Bryant on the bench.
Two things that have stood out all year with Dallas. The fact that they are right at the bottom of the league in points in the paint, 29th, and second chance points, they're 27th. Well, it's just the way it started off here with the Lakers controlling those two areas.
And the Mavericks turning it over several times. That's their 3rd turnover already in this quarter, with less than 4 minutes gone by. Off-balance shot by Blake doesn't go. Barea.
I don't know if the ball slipped out of Dirk's hands, or was he looking for Haywood down low? Thought he had an easier shot.
Here's Barea. He nearly lost control and gets the field goal. J.J. Barea with a career-best 9 points per game in his 5th year with Dallas. Good screen. but Barnes misses. And the Mavericks trying to cut it to 2. Barea hit hard going down to the floor and very upset with that foul. It'll be on Blake, his second personal, and really going at Blake. And Joe Crawford has called a technical foul.
Well, it was actually a good foul, but JJ got up like he was KO'd in the 12th round here. Good move here by JJ. He gets by Blake. There's the hard foul there by Barnes. He gets up quickly to have some words with Barnes, and Joey Crawford correctly gives JJ Barea the technical foul.
And Shannon Brown makes the technical free throw to open up the lead to 5.
And understanding this game is for currently the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Right now, currently the Lakers have a half-game lead over Dallas. So emotions are high on both benches.
Well, it is, no matter how you look at it, up or down. The Lakers, after San Antonio lost to Boston on TNT for their 5th straight loss, now 2 games back in the loss column, trying to hold the number 2 spot, and of course the Mavericks with a win would move ahead of them. So much riding on this late season game.
There's so much involved, because if San Antonio clinches it and they're going to have the best record and have home court all the way through, then perhaps Phil Jackson gets a chance to rest some of his key guys. But as long as they have a chance, they're in the hunt to get that number 1 spot. They want that, so they're going to play minutes that they have to play.
No question about it. And Barnes gets the basket and a foul. And Dirk Nowitzki trying to hold his place, but Barnes with a nifty move. And the foul is against Nowitzki, his first of the game.
When you watch Powell, remember we talked about his abilities, offensively so skilled, passing, finding Barnes. Barnes takes the contact, goes right into him. He knows Nowitzki's there, finishes with his left hand. Now the chance for the 3-point play.
What a great point that you make, Mike, because the way the races are and home court possibilities determine how strong you've got to play toward the end of the regular season, where normally you can have fewer minutes.
If you just figure that all the top 4 teams are going to win their first round, then you want to have home court come the second round, Stojakovic with the 3, which could be these 2 teams against each other.
So 5 points now for Stojakovic, and it cuts the Laker lead to 2. Here is Pau Gasol going baseline against Nowitzki, and a block. Looked like Haywood got a hand on it. Pau missing the baseline jumper, and Dallas can tie or go ahead. Here is Barea in the lane, getting the basket to tie the game at 37. Barea with 6 points here in the second quarter.
Well, didn't Barea have a huge 4th quarter last night, a second half, 4th quarter versus the Clippers?
16 points of his 22 in the 4th quarter in last night's win, right on this floor. And going in is Bynum. Didn't get the basket, but will go to the line.
JJ Barea doing a good job of attacking the lane right here. Takes on 3 Lakers along with Matt Barnes with a nice finish. And what a long rest this has been for Kobe Bryant. And they play tomorrow in Utah. Phil Jackson electing to rest his superstar. Looks like Kobe's getting ready to check back in.
Along with Jeff Fisher, as Bynum hits the first free throw. NBA League Pass is now available for the lowest price of the season. To watch the race to the playoffs, log on to NBA.com/League Pass or call your local cable, satellite, or telco provider. Kobe Bryant back in the game. He scored 7 points in the first quarter. That last foul was against Haywood. One out of 2 for Bynum. Lakers up by 1. Terry in the game along with Barea in the backcourt. And up front, it's Haywood along with Nowitzki. And Stojakovic. Loose ball picked up by Fisher. And they're going to call the foul on Fisher. Fisher fouling Barea. So it goes the other way.
And Derek Fisher has no problems with this, because that's one of the best flops I've seen. JJ Barea, he sold it, but that's exactly what Derek Fisher does at the defensive end as well.
So Terry will inbound as Tyson Chandler, who played his high school ball at Dominguez High here in Los Angeles has come back into the game, setting a screen against Blake for Terry. Nearly halfway through this second quarter, Nowitzki with the smaller Blake on him. Stojakovic hits another three. He's hit one from either corner, and the Mavericks have come back to take the lead 40-38 after falling behind by 6. And a timeout called by Phil Jackson.
That's exactly why you have all these veterans on a one squad if you're the Dallas Mavericks. Peja being able to stretch the floor with his three-point shooting, his second three early on in this first half.
Autism Speaks. It's time to listen.
Join the NBA family on World Autism Awareness Day.
Join the NBA family and get involved to make a difference for families living with autism.
And bring the autism community together as one strong voice.
The Mavericks have outscored the Lakers 8-1 to regain the lead with 6 minutes remaining in the second quarters, as Stojakovic and Barea together have scored the last 6. 12 points for Dallas, 6 each. Ron Artest back in there, and he delivers with his first attempt. Ties the game at 40. We haven't seen Sean Marion in a while. He's now come back in the game.
I think the ability of Peja to stretch the floor is the reason why he's getting these extended minutes.
And there's Marion with the runner. And knocked away. It'll be Lakers ball.
You know, there's a good thing for a coach and sometimes a bad thing for a coach when you have a real deep roster. The good thing is it protects you against injuries. You have flexibility. You can match up small, go big. However, sometimes it's tough to get everybody in the game now. Yesterday, Rick Carlisle played all 12 people in the first half. But it doesn't work that way all the time. As you get down to crunch time, you basically play 8 or 9 guys.
Bryant driving in with the layup. Kobe Bryant now with 9 points has not been a factor, but you know he always will be at some point. And a 20-second timeout called by Rick Carlisle.
And there's no way that JJ can stay in front, around, behind Kobe Bryant. Kobe using that 6'7" frame to get by the 5'5". Did I say 5'5"? 5'9", JJ Barea.
40 after the Dallas 20-second timeout.
If you're wondering why the quick timeout by Carlisle, it's just so he can put somebody in the game to fight Kobe Bryant. That's the guy with the ball right there, Jason Kidd. He couldn't leave Terry and Barea on the floor. Kobe was just going to go.
Here's by 6. That's how tight it's been. Here's Pau Gasol behind Kobe Bryant off the rim.
What a pass by Gasol.
What a pass by Lamar down to Pau. This is some of the best passing big men on this Laker team.
Nowitzki gets the basket and one. And Ron Artest, a very tough defender, but not with the size of Dirk Nowitzki.
Well, Dirk fought his way through this one. He knows he's got a tough defender on him. He knows Artest is strong. Lowers, leans right in, anticipates the contact. But the good thing is that he makes the shot at the end. Just doesn't settle to get 2 free throws.
Nowitzki missed a free throw in the fourth quarter against the Clippers last night, ending a string of 74 consecutive free throws, the longest in the NBA. He made the very next one of the best there is. And he makes the three-point play to give Dallas the 1-point edge. And Kobe Bryant again misses. So he misses the layup, and now trying to get the ball, taps it. A brilliant defensive play by Kobe Bryant as he tapped it into the hands of Fisher. Here's Artest. A 2-point basket.
How about that play by Kobe Bryant? First he deflects it, and he's going out of bounds. He's well into the seats and still saves it, and it winds up being a 3.
Crowd still buzzing over that one, and Kobe steals the ball away from Nowitzki. Here is Artest, all day to shoot, and this is the 3. But Gasol from Odom. And the crowd on its feet as the Lakers now are up by 3 with some spectacular play at both ends of the floor.
Well, really, the Lakers' size now is starting to show through. Lamar Odom and Pau Gasol making themselves very large on the offensive glass.
Second chance points for the Lakers. Big factor. Terry misses an open mid-range jumper. 3 minutes to go in the first half. Here's Gasol. Nowitzki gets a piece of it. Great defense inside by Dirk Nowitzki. Loose ball, and Artest gets it back from Odom. Basket good, and a foul by Gasol. This is not a playoff atmosphere. This is a Game 7 playoff atmosphere we're seeing.
Watch the save by Kobe. Left hand, stays in bounds, elevates, and tips it before he goes into the stand. Just a spectacular play, which leads to the three-point shot by Ron Artest.
Lakers have run off 6 straight points. Yes, in the game. Lakers have made an impressive run since the All-Star break, going 15-1. It started on February 22nd when they beat the Hawks handily. They smothered the Spurs in San Antonio, led by 32 at one point. Their only loss was to Miami on the road on March 10th, and they beat the Suns in 3 overtimes a couple of weeks later. And that's the story right now. And there you see the first 16 games after the All-Star break normally means you're going to win the title or at least get to the championship. I want to ask you about that timeout called by Rick Carlisle before.
Well, you have to go back. Dallas was up 1. Now they're down 5, okay, with Gasol going to the line. Carlisle wanted to call a timeout when the crowd really went nuts after Kobe's save, which left to the 2-point jumper for Artest, but he didn't. He was hesitant because he had used that 20 up to get Jason Kidd back in the game again, just to get a bigger guy in there to guard Kobe. So he didn't want to use up another one, but then eventually he knew he had to stop the run.
Defensive 3-second violation called against the Lakers, and who have run off 7 straight points to match their biggest lead of the game in Nowitzki on the line.
Kind of want to go back to that 15-1 start since the All-Star break for the Lakers. And around here, because I live here, people were really scratching their head wondering what was wrong with the Lakers the first 2.5 months of the season. And there was no panic in that locker room. You listen to Lamar Odom and Kobe Bryant, and especially Phil Jackson. He was understanding and looking at the big picture. He wants his team at their best late, and right now they are playing their best at both ends of the basketball floor.
Marion with the turnaround and the foul, pushing foul against the Lakers. But who is better after all he has done and seen over the years than being able to handle a long season as a coach, to be able to handle the down moments and not to panic and just say, let's get ready for the finish.
Well, one other factor with Phil is, as you mentioned to us, he had a guy like Derek Fisher who stepped up right before All-Star break and said to the team, hey, listen, when we come back, let's get back to knowing what our roles are in this team and try staying in what your role is, and don't forget what it's supposed to be, because that's what will help us win again. And that's a guy like Derek Fisher who's willing to step up and say that, and Phil lets him handle that.
So he knows he has a coach on the floor in Derek Fisher, who's, by the way, his second tour of duty with his team, and all he does is get championship rings as well. Chandler makes the free throws as the Lakers in the penalty. 2:25 to go in the first half. LA by 4. They have had a 6-point lead on 2 occasions. And here's Kobe Bryant hitting a 3. Kobe Bryant now with 12. And a 7-point lead, the biggest of the game for the Lakers right now. Marion with the runner. Falls off. Kidd is guarding Kobe Bryant. Here is Bryant. A 10-1 run right now for the Lakers with under 2 minutes to go in the first half.
Kobe Bryant looking for an overhand right here early on in this first half.
It's like the Lakers have a free license that when Nowitzki's back is turned, the next defender can come. And they've already stripped him twice. They almost got another one right there.
And they're going to call a pushing foul, a penalty the Lakers have been in. And it'll be second foul against Fisher. And right now, let's check in with our studio at Atlanta. Here's Matt Weiner. It's in color, you know, black and white is only good so long, but those that have color television sets, what a wondrous thing that is, don't you think, Reggie?
Absolutely.
You have one?
Yes, I do. One.
Lakers in gold for those who still don't have it. All right, enough of that. As we have a minute and a half to go in this first half. Bryant guarded now by Terry. Here's Kobe with the fall away. Kid quickly out to Terry. Fisher is back. Terry will pull up. And the rebound by Marion on the follow.
Sean Marion sprinted down the floor. They had the 2-on-1. Terry's decision, shoot it or throw it up near the rim and let Marion go get it. So Marion just made up for it after the missed shot, grabbed it and finished it.
Now Kidd defending, and Kidd takes the ball away from Kobe Bryant. Lakers are back defensively. Terry pulls up for the three. Offensive rebound by Tyson Chandler.
Jason Terry's stroke.
Here is Marion. And the Lakers withstand all of that persistence and drive by the Mavericks and get the ball back.
If you're Jason Terry, you've had 2 or 3 wide open looks that you normally knock down. Now remember, this is a guy coming off the bench who supplies a lot of that offensive punch for the Mavs.
Reggie, they're shooting too much from outside and they're relying too much on that now.
But they're a jump shooting team. You're not going to get a lot of points inside if you're the Dallas Mavericks.
With Bynum, you know you can get inside, and Andrew Bynum draws the foul. And Sean Marion with his second. Talked about Jason Terry, who hit his first 2 shots when he came into the game and has been 0 for 4 since. And have you mentioned, Mike, Marion and Terry have been the biggest weapons for the Mavericks against the Lakers this year.
Yeah, and as Reggie said, that when you're a jump shooting team, it shows up statistically over the course of a season. You don't get to the foul line as often when you're a jump shooting team. You don't have guys attacking the rim off the dribble. You don't get on the offensive boards a whole lot and make a presence. You don't have a lot of post-up guys that can score down there, and those are all points you lose.
That's why people always ask, can this Maverick team be successful in the playoffs? Because if you're not getting a lot of easy points when playoff basketball happens, when it's half court and you've got to get easy scores, that's what makes it very, very difficult to win.
Closest they came when they had the 2-0 lead against the Miami Heat in the finals. Couldn't do it then. Is this team tough enough? There'll always be that question, Reggie. You're right. 8 on the shot clock. Under 12 seconds to go as Nowitzki gets the lay-in.
And got away with the travel right there, it looked like.
A little shuffle with his feet once he's pump faked.
Final shot coming up for the Lakers if they can. They're leading by 3. Here is Kobe Bryant for 3. Way off the mark as the first half comes to a close. And the Lakers trying to fend off the Mavericks, and there is Bynum and Chandler talking things over. Nowitzki with 14. Leading the Mavericks. Gasol with 13, Kobe with 12, Bynum with 11 are the top scorers for the Lakers. And after this break, we'll send you to our Atlanta studio for the T-Mobile Halftime Report with Matt Weiner, Chris Webber, and Rick Fox. And welcome back to Los Angeles on TNT. And the NBA on TNT is presented by the United States Marine Corps. The Lakers lead the Mavericks 54-51. A big build-up to this game. So much riding on it. And the first half lived up to expectations, to say the least. Dick Stockton along with Reggie Miller and the czar Mike Fratello. And I guess we touched on the question as to whether the Mavericks really have what it takes to maybe finally win a title that has avoided them so far.
Well, the Mavs 29th in points in the paint. But what sets them off is, are they going to win by just shooting jump shots? Well, when you have Dirk Nowitzki and Peja Stojakovic, guys who really can stretch the floor, it really doesn't matter. Dirk, one of the best mid-range shooters for a 7-footer. I just like their size, but they are going to have to get more points in the paint to be effective.
You mean like you want me to show you how to get points in the paint? How about Bynum finding some space down low to finish off around the rim, and then the soft touch of Pau Gasol with the offensive rebound, and then the strong two-hand finish by Bynum. The power forward and center right now, 10 of 15 from the floor in the first half.
Here are the statistics, and what you may not see here, the rebounding, with the Mavericks out-rebounding the Lakers 25-18 against the stronger rebounding team, which could bode well if Dallas continues to get the job done off the boards in the second half. Right now, let's check in with Cheryl Miller.
Well, I spoke to the Mavs coaching staff, and they basically said that first half is exactly what they expected. Physical, the bigs really put a number on our bigs. He goes, but turnovers were the worst thing. And Reggie, you talked about this team turning the ball over. But the other thing is, this is an important game for a couple of reasons. Number one is since 1984, guys, the team, the home court, has won 79% of the second round series. So expect a really hard-fought second half.
All right, Cheryl, thank you very much. And while the Mavericks have the best road record in the NBA at 27-10, to be home in that second round in a matchup against the Lakers would be huge. Dirk Nowitzki, who was 6 of 11 for 14 points to lead the Mavericks, missing the first shot of the second half. Bynum getting the rebound.
There's a technical right there. The technical is going to be on Dirk Nowitzki for waving his hand, waving his arm at the official. He was trying to point that he had gotten hit on the elbow. The official didn't want to see the gesture on Dirk's part, so he gets the technical foul.
Second technical called against the Mavericks. J.J. Barea got hit with one in the second quarter. Kobe Bryant connects.
Watch now. Here's Dirk coming down the floor. Watch him right there pointing to his elbow. Hey, I got hit. I got hit. The official thinks about it, calls the technical.
Where? He pointed to the elbow that he got fouled. Where's the wave?
Well, the arm that was up in the air, you know.
Come on.
Bynum is pushed by Tyson Chandler.
I understand the respect for the game and all that, but Dirk should you got to have a little bit of dialogue with the official. And they've done a good job of kind of letting up on this a little bit, but in a game of this magnitude, you can't afford to give these two excellent teams free opportunities to shoot free throws.
On the turnover, here is Beaubois, foul at the other end.
And watch Dirk Nowitzki. He feels that when he lets it go, he gets hit. There's the step back.
Which he didn't.
All right, now
there was no foul.
Now,
that's good defense there by Pau Gasol.
all right, let him come back now a little bit, and that's when he points to his elbow, to the official, and look, it's Dirk Nowitzki. He should not get a technical for that, okay?
Kobe Bryant committed the foul, and Beaubois misses the first free throw. So now Dirk has to be a little careful with what he says here.
Well, absolutely, but also now there's been a precedent set. So anytime the Lakers, they look at the official or they put their hands up, it should be a technical, according to what we just saw. Right or wrong, Coach?
I cannot argue with you, sir. You made your point.
Basically, the officials have done a terrific job, and you pointed that out so far in the game. That was deflected, so no backcourt violation there. Kobe Bryant has 8 on the shot clock, working against Beaubois. Tough pass to Artest in the corner, hits a 3. Ron Artest now with 10 points, and his second 3 of the game.
Kobe Bryant found Ron Artest right in his shooting motion.
And he had to pass through several players for that. And Beaubois, not sure whether he was trying to pass it to Chandler or put up the shot. 6-point lead for the Lakers. Here's Kobe Bryant. Off the rim, Gasol foul. Pau Gasol fouled. Looked like Marion from behind. We'll check and see early here in the third.
You know, I thought this might be off of Kobe when I first saw it. The deflection took place, and then it had hit Kobe's hand last.
It easily could have been over and back is what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're being really nitpicked tonight, aren't you?
Well, I mean, it is what it is.
Let the game flow.
I'm finding these little things out there tonight. I'm sorry.
You're getting into playoff mode here,
I
huh?
am getting ready. If it goes off of Kobe, it's off of Kobe.
A chippy broadcast table right now, early in the third quarter.
Dick, it's springtime. We saw all the crazy games that went on in March Madness, and there's only 8-9 games left in the regular season here. These professionals are seeing the light at the end of the tunnels. It's playoff. It's springtime, baby. We've got to raise our game, too.
Biggest lead of the game for the Lakers. By the way, that foul was not against Marion but by Nowitzki, his third, as Kidd misses the jumper. So an 8-point lead, and the Lakers trying to get it into double digits here with 2 minutes gone by in the third quarter. Here is Bryant going in, has it stripped away. A 3-on-1 with Fisher back. Beaubois gets the basket and the foul as Joe Crawford calls the blocking foul against Derek Fisher, his third. That could have gone either way.
That's actually a good call by Joey Crawford. Look at Fisher at the last minute, just moves over. He was still moving, but if you're Beaubois, you got to give that ball up to Tyson Chandler.
Yes.
I know you made the basket and potentially an and one, but that's a very selfish play.
But you know, the last time down, Reggie, the previous transition opportunity, Beaubois was throwing that lob to the rim. That was supposed to be a lob. That wasn't a shot. And he threw it to the
Tyson
rim.
Chandler.
Exactly. But instead, Tyson never got to it, didn't go after it, so it winds up hitting the rim. That time he figured, look, what? Nobody's going to jump for it. I'll just shoot it myself.
Beaubois misses the free throw in the and one, so it's a 6-point lead. And Kobe Bryant is fouled, hits the floor. Beaubois. And it looked like the legs were taken out of Kobe Bryant when he hit the floor. And he'll go to the line to shoot two. Beaubois picking up his second foul. TBS weeknights, experts recommend that you Conan 4 out of 5 nights a week. So watch new episodes of Conan weeknights at 11:10 Central, only on TBS.
You're hearing a subtle chance here, obviously, of the Laker faithful of MVP. I think right now everyone has LeBron and Derrick Rose and possibly Dwight Howard on their radar, but I always pose this question: if the Lakers do catch the Spurs and end up with that #1 seed in the Western Conference, you can absolutely look at Kobe Bryant as an MVP candidate strongly.
You got two guys in this game that should be candidates. Nowitzki should be one. Kobe should be one.
And Beaubois is pushed by Derek Fisher for the foul. Again, this is what this game is all about. The Dallas Mavericks, with a victory over the Lakers, would snap their 9-game winning streak here at Staples Center and move into the second seed in the West. Meanwhile, the Lakers trail the Spurs by only 2 in the loss column. And right now, Derek Fisher gets hit with a technical foul, so the officials making their presence felt here in this third quarter.
Because of that technical foul, there's been a precedent set.
And Fisher has 4 fouls now.
You know, Derek Fisher was hanging around the baseline trying to talk to the official about his 4th foul. Sean Wright, the official, was trying to ignore him, was looking the other way, saying that's enough, go to the bench. Okay, there's the arms that come up. It's a technical foul. Is it one? Perhaps. Perhaps.
I get the feeling that you're not real happy with the new interpretation this year of respect of the game.
I couldn't have played in today's game. There's no way.
Here is Beaubois missing a 3, and it's tapped by him into the hands of Kobe Bryant to Pau Gasol, who can't convert. Mavericks back. Kid goes down low to Nowitzki. Guarded by Bryant, doubled by Artest, traveling called against Nowitzki.
Good job that time by Kobe, coming right down immediately, formed the double team, and they dared Nowitzki to pass out of it. Instead, they got the turnover.
How does that happen, Coach? A team that struggles with points in the paint, you've got one of your 7-footers, we'll call Dirk 7-foot. You've got to be able to take the smaller Kobe Bryant. Shouldn't you be able to do that?
Yeah, but by doubling down real quick the way they did, they forced him into a decision. He winds up traveling while he's thinking it over.
Blake replaced Fisher, who went out of the game, and Kobe Bryant is fouled by Beaubois. Beaubois, we're mentioning his name on both sides of the floor. He is almost like a one-man game, good or bad, for the Mavericks to this point. That is his 3rd personal foul. He has scored 5 points in the game, and Bryant is on the line. Well, it's time for Man Up, presented by Miller Lite, as Kobe hits the first. Last 3 games.
I know 3 games does not make a season, but he's the one guy that could put a team on its shoulders and carry him. To me, he's still the best closer in the game. His numbers don't indicate it, especially his 4th quarter scoring. But if it's a close game, tied or down 1, I want the ball in number 24's hand.
And he'd like to get on track against the Mavericks, where he's averaged only 17, 41% shooting in the last couple of years. Here is Nowitzki. Bryant getting the rebound. And the Lakers can open up their biggest lead if they score here. Here's Bynum, tipped by Pau Gasol. And the first double-digit lead of the game with 4 minutes gone by in the third. Timeout, Dallas.
You pay too much attention to the one big man, the other big guys there to clean up anything that might roll off the front of the rim. You'll see the second Dallas Mav come back in there. 3 blue jerseys occupied by him. Can't have a guard trying to block out Gasol. This time, let's look at the size advantage and what takes place down in the post in transition. Dirk Nowitzki gets caught behind. You have 1 defender, 2 defenders, 3 defenders, even 4 turning your head looking at the ball. What that does is it takes a guy like, well, Sean Marion, for example, who's standing over here, and his job, seek out that big man, Pau Gasol, and go put a body on him. Don't let him get in there for a follow-up shot. Well, Bynum gets it up there, but Gasol just too big. That's his 4th offensive rebound, the 8th one for the Lakers in this game.
Jason Terry, who has scored 4 points on 2 for 6 shooting, has come into the game with the 4 other starters for the Mavericks. And here is Terry putting it up, and Artest getting the rebound. The Lakers have outscored the Mavericks 11-4 here in the third quarter. Dallas is 1 of 7 shooting from the field. Laker bigs playing a big role so far as LA trying to continue to challenge San Antonio. Bynum misses the turnaround. 10-point lead for the Lakers. Gasol against Nowitzki. Basket counts and a foul. An and one situation for Dirk Nowitzki.
And this is a move you normally don't see from Dirk, doing a wonderful job here of taking the ball off the dribble here. Gets through 2 Laker defenders. Nice extension of that left hand, Coach.
What he did is he turned the corner on Pau and got underneath Bynum's arm with the left hand, extending it like you said.
Nowitzki is the only Maverick in double figures so far in this game, as he has 18 points. The Lakers have 4 players in double figures.
Well, we talked about head coach Rick Carlisle using all 12 players off the bench last night against the Clippers. That bench had 53 points. Tonight, only 18 points. Kobe Bryant knocks down a long deuce.
18 for Bryant. 6 coming here in the third quarter. 9-point lead for the Lakers. And here's Kidd. And the rebound by Bynum. They can wear you down, the Laker big guys can, especially on the boards. They come back strong rebounding after the Mavericks had the lead in that department at the half. 8 on the shot clock, so Pau Gasol with no one to pass to puts it up. And Chandler has it knocked away very nearly. Another good defensive play by Artest.
Ron Artest is a tight end waiting to happen.
And Nowitzki fouled going underneath. And Pau Gasol with his 3rd personal. And Dirk Nowitzki will go to the line. Well, Sunday, MLB on TBS returns as the defending American League champion Texas Rangers host the team that many people feel will be the dominant team in the American League this year, the Boston Red Sox. That'll be at 2 o'clock Eastern, MLB on TBS Sunday. Lamar Odom will come in for Pau Gasol, who goes out of the game. He has scored 17, and he has 3 fouls.
If there's one thing to me that would have changed this game, and it would be a little bit close right now, it's the open looks that Terry has had at the basket, which night in and night out, he makes that shot. That's why he's so important coming off the bench. It's one of the reasons why he doesn't start, because he's very comfortable in that role. He just can't knock him down.
2 for 6 in this game. Nearing 6 minutes remaining in the third. And Kobe Bryant against the very pesky Jason Kidd puts it up with 2 on the shot clock. Kidd, great defensive job, but Bynum follows it up and gets the field goal.
And at the end of the day, that's the one thing the Lakers will always have over the Mavericks, their ability to attack the offensive glass.
13 points, 7 rebounds for Andrew Bynum. 6 on the shot clock. Nowitzki. And Mavericks not getting many second shots against this Laker interior defense. Kobe Bryant loses it out of bounds. And it'll go over to Dallas.
Reggie, I'm trying to think, besides a healthy Boston Celtic team, who has size to match up with the Lakers?
There's not a lot of teams. I think with Oklahoma City, getting Kendrick Perkins will help. But you're right, there's not a lot of teams that has the size and the depth that the Lakers have, and the experience.
Nowitzki guarded by Odom. Fall away. And Dirk Nowitzki now with 22 points. He is the game's high scorer. And the Laker lead has been shaved to 7.
The key word you said right there was experience. This is such an experienced veteran Laker team. They've seen almost anything you can try to throw at them. They've seen it and had to handle it.
Bryant against Kidd. Foul. Basket counts. And one for Kobe Bryant. Jason Kidd on the foul, and Bryant with 8 points here in the third.
I mean, just too good, too talented. I mean, 2 Hall of Famers going against one another. Kobe takes the contact with the fadeaway and the bucket.
And Jason Kidd, who just turned a spry 38 years of age last week. 3-point play the conventional way by Kobe Bryant. And again, the Lakers are up by 10 with 4.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter, matching their biggest advantage of the game. Stojakovic in the game. 2-point attempt goes. Stojakovic with his third field goal.
That's what he does. He has the ability to come on the court and immediately put points on the board, and so good from behind the three-point line. You have to respect him. It stretches the defense out.
Blake to Bryant, goes inside to Artest. Good interior passing by the Lakers, and Odom connecting. Good pass, but good ball movement by the Lakers. Under 4 minutes to go in the third. Bryant also doing a terrific defensive job in this game. Here is Terry with the jumper, pointing out what Mike Lazar pointed out a little while ago. Terry is not hitting those open jumpers. Blake keeps it alive, and Artest missing a 3 from the corner.
Andrew Bynum is going after every loose rebound as Jason Terry tried to spin move, ball out of bounds. But I love the aggressive nature of Andrew Bynum, who is upset right now.
And timeout right now. Let's take a look at the all-new Chrysler 300C in the streets of Los Angeles. I want to see this game. The Lakers leading the Mavericks 74-64 in any walk of life, including the likes of Jeremy Piven and Mark Wahlberg, brilliant in The Fighter. Heather Locklear and Jack Wagner. TBS's George Lopez and Jack.
I like that in simple. And Jack. You don't even need to say his last name. Just
it's like
Jack.
It's like the Doc, you know?
Just
like,
Jack.
Like Reggie, like Czar,
yeah, okay.
like Cheryl, and I could go on, but I won't. 3:15 to go in the third quarter. Here's Kobe Bryant, guarded by Sean Marion now. Going in and off the rim. Chandler the rebound, 10-point lead. That's been the biggest lead of the game. And Marion with the runner, basket counts, and the and one coming up for Marion.
Because of Dallas' shot-making ability, they're always in games. Marion does a good job here of running the secondary break. Nice little runner, a rare point in the paint for the Dallas Mavericks.
You know, during this run of 15-1 for the Lakers after the All-Star break, the one criticism that seems to have come up is that the second unit for the Lakers have not played all that well. We're seeing again tonight. The second group for the Lakers is 4 of 12. 9 points total. But the first group has been so dominant, with the exception of Fisher, who's been in foul trouble, that you don't need the second group if you can keep this first unit on the floor.
So Bryant, along with Barnes, Blake, Pau Gasol with the ball, and Odom in there for the Lakers. No foul. Ball knocked away. And the foul is called on Pau Gasol, and that will be his fourth. So Pau Gasol and Derek Fisher each with 4, as Sean Marion will go to the line. And in case you're wondering, the Lakers will play the Spurs one more time in the regular season. They have 8 games left after this. That will be right here at the Staples Center on April the 12th.
What's important here, Pau Gasol picks up his 4th foul. It's a nice little strip there by Chandler. Marion comes up with the basketball, and you see Gasol out of frustration just swipes down and picks up his 4th foul with 2:40 left here in the 3rd period.
Marion misses the free throw, and Bynum replaces Pau Gasol.
Dick, the importance of this game we've mentioned numerous times tonight, but big stretch coming up for the Lakers. 9 games in 14 days. So they've had a couple of days off here, but it gets tougher now.
Blocking foul called against Chandler as Bynum was spinning his way inside. Both teams have been in the penalty, and that'll be 3 against Tyson Chandler.
That's pretty good defense. That's pretty good defense there.
I'm voting with you. I think he got there, and that should have been an offensive foul. But it doesn't matter what I think. It's been called.
Bynum 3 for 4 from the line. Has 13 points and 8 rebounds. Shannon Brown will replace Kobe Bryant, who goes out with 21 points, 9 here in this 3rd quarter.
Remember, it was the second unit, as you talked about how their offensive struggles, and you talked about the one criticism of this team as Lakers will get another opportunity here. But it was this second unit in that 1st and 2nd quarter that kind of stretched that lead out with Kobe and Ron Artest on the bench.
8-point lead, Lakers get it back, and one thing that sometimes goes unnoticed is the fact that the Lakers really don't turn over the ball. 2-point basket by Shannon Brown. Coming in, the Lakers were 2nd in the league with fewest turnovers, averaging 13 a game. They've committed only 5 so far. So they have held on to the ball, and there is Kidd finding Stojakovic for 3. And good timing on the rebound by Bynum, and a loose ball foul called against Chandler, and that'll be 4 on Tyson. And there you see Brendan Haywood quickly come in.
See the swipe here by Tyson Chandler, just right over the head of Andrew Bynum, picking up his 4th foul.
Dick, you mentioned how well the Lakers protect the ball, 2nd best in the turnovers, and now couple that with the fact that Dallas is right at the bottom of the league in forcing turnovers. They only force around 13 turnovers a game, so it makes it a little bit easier night as far as you trying to run your offensive stuff.
Here are the numbers in the 3rd quarter, and a huge rebounding edge by the Lakers, not to mention the scoring and the second chance point, 8-0. Lakers have their biggest lead of the game, 12 points with under 2 minutes to go here in the 3rd.
That's who they need to get going here for the Dallas Mavericks, number 31.
Started the game hitting his first 2. Reggie has missed 6 since then. And this one goes in. It was credited to Marion, who has 9 now. Mavericks trying to cut into what has been established as the double-digit lead here in the 3rd quarter by the Lakers. And this will go as a backcourt violation and a turnover.
And when you prepare for this Laker team, you have a practice or 2 before the game. You talk about blocking out, put a body on somebody. You just can't be satisfied putting a body on them. You have to search them out, go stop them cold where they are. Don't let them get another step or 2 closer to the rim, because they're so long, they just come over the top of you without fouling.
Mavericks have twice as many turnovers as the Lakers in this game with under a minute remaining. Shannon Brown loses it out of bounds. Another turnover, or this by the Lakers.
It's been a real sloppy last 2 minutes, really, for both teams. Turning the ball over, missed free throws.
On the shot clock, and they're going to call Blake with the foul. Let's take a look at the finishing schedule for these teams. Lakers 8 games, the Mavericks 7.
Key thing I look at is plus 500 teams. Both have 4 at plus 500 teams, but look, I think the Lakers sense, especially with the Spurs losing tonight, this is a chance for the Lakers to take another step forward and try to creep into that #1 seed in the Western Conference. And you can't tell me how important that was last season, that Game 7 here against the Boston Celtics, even though that was for the NBA Finals, how important home court advantage is.
Kid got a piece of that one. It's interesting. I think you're right about the home court advantage. And you wonder, could the Lakers beat the Mavericks if they don't have a home court advantage in the second round? And they could very well do that.
Well, Dallas has the best road record, and I think followed by San Antonio or the Lakers. So these are, excellent teams that can win on the road. When you get to that level, everyone's able to beat anyone on the road.
Last year, the Mavericks, who were the second seed, had the best road record in the league, and then they proceeded to drop 3 road games in San Antonio and got knocked out in the first round. There is Odom with a 3 from the corner, Lamar Odom. And it matches the biggest lead of the game for the Lakers as we wind down in this third quarter. Final seconds. Jason Terry not been a factor. And getting a piece of it on the attempt by Marion, and that will do it. Very close on the other end. But they've got to feel good about things here at the Staples Center. After 3 quarters with so much riding, the Lakers lead the Mavericks 82-70.
Welcome back to Los Angeles. With me is Phil Jackson. And Coach, you said before the game, with your team having a layoff of Tuesday, and you weren't sure how they would respond. How did it look so far?
I think they're real lethargic to start the game. My activity level was down defensively, but it built. Second quarter, we started playing defense a little bit more. Got some steals, got some things happening for us, and I think we're playing a lot better now.
Dallas obviously is a team that can score in bunches. What do you tell your team in the fourth quarter?
Stay out of foul trouble early, stop the penetration, step up on the picks. We'll let Terry have open looks. We'll be all right.
Odom hits a 3 to start the fourth quarter as the Lakers outscored the Mavericks by 9 in the third, and in second chance points were 11-0 against Dallas. And the offensive foul called against Dirk Nowitzki. Nowitzki has 2. They had an earlier foul against Nowitzki, and they changed it to Marion, who has 3. So that's 2 now on Nowitzki.
A little bit of frustration setting in for Dallas right now. They're not tall enough, may not be big enough, strong enough to handle these Lakers.
Odom hitting another 3.
Are you kidding me?
Back-to-back threes by Lamar Odom. And if you want to talk about 6-man battles in this game, it's been no contest just in this game as far as Odom and Terry are concerned.
Well, I was wondering who picked him to be the 6th man of the year. I think that was myself, stretching the floor with his 3rd three-pointer.
You also had a cohort picking him as well, sir.
Was that you?
Yes.
Okay.
870 Lakers. Watch how the Lakers invert their offense. Here's the guard right here. Here's the forward, Lamar Odom. They put him on the outside. Now what do you have? You have some dribble handoff action take place. Hand it off. Bynum steps up to set the screen, which forces the switch. Dribble handoff, switch. Now all of a sudden you've got a big man who doesn't want to go out. Hayward wants no part of Odom by the three-point line. Another bucket.
Lamar Odom hit the 3 at the end of the third quarter and has 2 to start the fourth. So he has scored the last 9 Laker points, and they have blanked the Mavericks 9-0. All the points scored by Lamar Odom. An 18-point lead in the opening minute here of the fourth quarter. And here is J.J. Barea missing the jumper. Too many missed jumpers by the Mavericks tonight have done them in, at least to this juncture. Nowitzki out at the top meeting Odom. Odom will try another one, and this one misses. That was a two-point attempt. Blake trying to head off Barea. Stojakovic. Tough shot. Odom the rebound, and here come the Lakers again. Odom! 11 in a row for Odom.
Well, the good news is that we're allowed to vote over again tonight at the end of the game. For the sixth end of the year award.
And Nowitzki coming back with a three. Dirk Nowitzki, with his first three-point basket of the game, has 25. And he is the high scorer in the game. Two players in double figures for the Mavericks, 5 in double figures for the Lakers. A little more than 2 minutes gone by in the fourth. Here's Odom again. Streak not over, but he did not add to it here. Here is Terry for 3, and Terry continues to struggle. He is 2 for 8 from the field, now 2 for 9. And a 17-point lead for the Lakers, who are playing with a world of confidence and assurance in this tough game against Dallas. Blake has it knocked away, and now Terry and Blake have to be separated.
And Matt Barnes came in at the end of that. It looked like he shoved Jason Terry. Looks like Joey Crawford has already thrown out Matt Barnes.
Barnes has been thrown out, you're right.
Matt Barnes just threw down the assistant Terry Stotts.
And he won't go quietly. Playoff atmosphere when we started. Not that this is what you always see in the playoffs, but it shows you the kind of feverish attitude we have with these teams.
You may have had 2 ejections for the Lakers.
Yes.
It may be Blake
Barnes
and Barnes.
And I believe Jason Terry has been thrown out for the Dallas Mavericks.
Go back to the beginning of the game when Barnes came in the game.
Absolutely.
And we said it's the third person that's got a little bit of nastiness for this team. Kobe, Artest, and that's what you saw.
Brendan Haywood is also going. So Haywood and Terry are gone. Blake and Barnes also ejected. You're right. Barnes gives them the edge.
And let's set it up this way. If the playoffs were to begin today and both of these teams won their first round matchup, as this is where it all started. Blake thought that he was fouled hard
by Terry,
going to the hole by Jason Terry.
Well,
there
Terry
was a push. He pushed him.
Blake, yeah. Blake was definitely pushed by Terry there.
So if these two teams won their first round matchup, they would face one another in the second round. And here's Barnes and assistant coach Terry Stotts, who was trying to play a peacemaker here as Joey Crawford was ejected him, and he's just trying to hold him so nothing goes on. And he just throws Terry Stotts down on the bench. Stu Jackson is going to be busy tonight. And I like what the officials are doing here. You can do this and go to the monitor.
They want to get straight who should be out of the game right now and how many shots, if any, they're going to award. It's the shove at the end. Watch Terry. There's the foul. Another foul. Now there's the two hands where he shoves him out of bounds. That's what made Blake react and come right in his face.
And there will be fines as well. A lot of frustration for Terry, I would think, tonight, Czar, huh?
Well, we just said that. We saw the Dallas, we said a little while ago, the Dallas team had become frustrated. You could see that. They're going to commit fouls that they would normally not commit, lose a little bit of control.
Jason Terry 0 for 7 from the field since hitting his first 2 shots. He is.
I'm trying to wonder what Brendan Haywood did to get thrown out. Because right there, it looked like he was playing peacemaker.
Right.
I don't know if it's something he did or said.
And you have to leave the floor in an orderly manner here. You can't do this.
And what I like is watch Kobe Bryant here. I've been in a situation where the bench is cleared and everyone was suspended for a number of games. Kobe Bryant doing a good job of policing the bench. No one even took a step onto the court here. Smart decision over there by the captain, Kobe Bryant.
Right. And a lot to see for the officials.
See if we can see Haywood, low right side, low right side.
There's the shove by Jason Terry. There's the reaction by Steve Blake. Now here comes Matt Barnes with the shove on Jason Terry. Now I just can't see what Brendan Haywood is doing. It had to have been something he said, because looking at it, okay, now here comes the reaction right here. I'm still a little lost on what Brendan Haywood did to get ejected.
Well, at that moment when he went charging towards the bench there at the end, I don't know what happened after that, but that could have been something. But that's his bench over there.
2 coaches with the 3 officials, and Joey Crawford sorting it out. Phil Jackson doesn't seem to be overwrought about things. Has a 17-point lead.
Well, it's safe to say suspensions are going to be handed down from this.
Yes.
And I love what the officials are doing right here. They're huddling up. They're talking amongst themselves. They've called both coaches over and explained everything that has transpired. And now the ruling. Joey Crawford, who's been at this a number of years, a true professional. He's one of those guys you want on the floor during situations like this.
They've done a great job of settling things down in a hurry, especially when players were not coming off the court that fast.
Absolutely.
Look, they sit and talk together in the locker room before the game. They know the importance, the size of this game. We saw some early technicals when players reacted that we kind of said, you know, we don't need to have that. But that's why they were doing this, to try and set a tone from the beginning that they're going to control this game and not let it get out of hand.
And here's the whole play from the beginning. The ball comes out of the post to Blake. He drives, and then there's the shove at the end by Jason Terry. Here's the reaction from Steve Blake. They get separated, and in comes Matt Barnes with the shove on Jason Terry.
Now looking for Haywood's role here, 33.
Look, you know, Matt Barnes, he understands that we're going to see this team down the road. It's a statement. I don't know if it's a smart statement, but it's a statement.
No question about it. I mean, this game speaks volumes about these teams.
He says, well, what did you think of the Dallas Mavericks when you played them during the playoffs? Oh, we always thought they were soft. We thought that we could be physical with them, we could beat them up, and that they wouldn't retaliate. And I think there's a number of teams that believe that about the Dallas Mavericks.
Theo Ratliff has been designated to shoot the free throws because Blake would have taken the shots, but he was ejected from the game.
Yeah, right there, you see it.
Is that Tyson Chandler?
It sure did look like
That's the guy we just talked about.
I think they owe Brian Cardinal a save. Watch Brian Cardinal right here in that area. Watch what happens. He reaches out. Brian Cardinal gets a save on that one, because you would have had another guy with a suspension.
No question. So we've seen Cardinal for the Mavericks and Kobe Bryant do their jobs on the bench.
Peacemaker.
Yep. So Brendan Haywood, Jason Terry ejected for the Mavericks. Matt Barnes and Steve Blake, and a flagrant 2 on Terry. That's the ruling. So there's the story. Ejected from the game tonight. That doesn't include the 3 technical fouls we had earlier in the game. One on Barea, the other on Nowitzki, and Derek Fisher as well. Here is Barea looping it in. Pretty basket by J.J. Barea. And it's a 15-point Laker lead. 3 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter.
Oh, Coach, there's a lot of time left in this game. And we talked about the shot-making ability of the Dallas Mavericks. They can go on a roll here.
You got 3 guys on the floor right now. Okay, Stojakovic, obviously Nowitzki, and Jason Kidd, surprising, who all can knock threes down.
All knocked out of bounds. Last touched by Kobe Bryant. Biggest lead of this game was 20 by the Lakers. Now it's 15. And Radliff, who came in briefly, goes out of the game. Derek Fisher, who's playing with 4 fouls, is in there now. So it's Brown, Fisher, Bryant, Bynum, and Odom. In and out for Bryant. Bryant with 21 is the leading scorer amongst 5 double-figure scores for the Lakers. Here's Stojakovic hitting another 3. Pages Stojakovic with his 3rd 3 of the game, and now it's down to 12.
And Phil Jackson, who doesn't like to take quick timeouts, looked out on the floor, looked at Brown and Fisher, and put his hands as if to say, relax and slow down, get control of this thing.
Bryant defended by Kidd, 6 on the shot clock. Finds Odom. Foul. Odom will shoot 2. And has a chance to end at 8-0. Dallas spurred after the Lakers opened up a lead of 20. And some of the scuffles that we've seen on the floor have moved into the crowd as well. A lot of emotion in a game that had this playoff atmosphere at the start, Reggie.
It's springtime, 8-9 games. These teams can a little bit of chippiness they can sense.
And now there's some activity behind the Dallas bench, and a fan is being escorted out by the red jacket ushers.
Are you kidding me? What is going on here?
In rapid fashion. So control, which we have finally established on the court, now has to be established in the crowd as well. Odom with his 2nd free throw attempt. 1 out of 2. The playoffs are around the corner, Mr. Miller.
Springtime.
13-point lead. Barea surrounded by Laker defenders. Plenty of time on the shot clock. 13-point lead. 4th quarter. Barea in the lane.
Tough shot.
He's made a couple of tough ones lately. He has 10 points in this game, and it's down to 11. Laker lead 91-80.
It was J.J. who had 16 points in that 4th quarter win last night against the L.A. Clippers.
On this very floor, and they're going to call it in the act of shooting. Jason Kidd fouling Kobe Bryant, who will shoot 2. Now let's see, down the aisle, look on the right side, and a great job done by the ushers to really intercept the fan and knock him back before he really gets onto the floor.
Let's give a lot of credit to the red coats here at Staples Center. They've been on it.
Kobe Bryant hits the first free throw. Kobe Bryant, who passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar last Sunday for the Laker record for most games played. Tonight is his 1,095th game. And this year moving from 13 to 6 on the NBA all-time scoring list.
You know, you just realize when you look back over where that almost took place, the altercation, they have red coats sitting facing the stands the entire game. Not facing the court to watch part of the game, but doing nothing but sitting and watching in case, as we see Jason Kidd tee up the 3 and miss it. Just in case somebody tries to come out of the stands, and that's why they have them facing that way. As you said, they've done an excellent job.
No question, 13-point lead. Here's Kobe Bryant, basket counts! And Kobe Bryant with an and 1. 25 for Kobe.
Not only with an and 1, but a little bit of a finger wag at the end of it. Splits the double team here. Jason Kidd comes over top and just gets him right on the wrist. And here's the reaction, right to you, Coach. No, not in our house.
Lakers rounding into superb playoff form as the season winds down, looking to make it 16-1 since the All-Star break. No basket. And there'll be a Laker foul against Derek Fisher. That'll be his 5th. $15-point lead. Under 7 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Here's Barea. Fires it up. Doesn't hit anything. Kobe Bryant pushed from behind by Dirk Nowitzki. And Nowitzki said something to Kobe, and Kobe said, "I understand." And not wanting to fan the flames anymore is Kobe Bryant in that instance.
Yeah, this is the right way. As Kobe Bryant, you see the push in the back by Dirk. Smart move here by Kobe just to walk away. Fisher, I think, was running up on Kobe just to make sure he was okay. When a guy is going that hard and that fast to the basket, you just want to make sure he's okay. And Joey, obviously, because of everything that has transpired here in this period, just want to make sure the emotions are where they should be.
He's been the settling force on the bench to make sure no Lakers came out during the scuffle, and right there when he himself got fouled. Makes both free throws. 27 for Kobe Bryant, who has scored the last 6 Laker points. They're up by 17, their biggest lead 20. Barea losing the ball. Odom. And Shannon Brown, foul going in. Kobe was under the basket, did not mind at all that Shannon Brown was going to take it himself.
And actually, that's the right play by Shannon Brown. You make the defender commit to you before you get rid of the basketball.
Right now, the Mavericks are in the penalty. A look at the upcoming national TV schedule. Friday at ESPN, 7:30, Celtics, Hawks, Lakers, and Jazz. Then NBA TV on Saturday, Oklahoma City plays the Clippers. Blake Griffin in action. And then ABC Sunday at 12:30 Eastern. It'll be the Suns at the Spurs, followed by the Nuggets at the Lakers. And how about the Nuggets and how they have been since Carmelo Anthony was traded?
All that young talent at George Karl's disposal. They're moving the basketball. They're playing hard at both ends of the floor. Got to give George Karl and that Nuggets team a lot of credit.
You know, when you have a guy like J.R. Smith and Al Harrington who can come off the bench, each of them get you 18, 20 off the bench tonight. That's a pretty good start for the second unit.
And how about having a floor general like Raymond Felton coming off the bench as well?
All of those ex-Knicks have been great. And Artest gets fouled by Chandler and gets the basket, and a little show put on by Ron Artest. And do they love it here at the Staples Center? Lakers are putting on a show.
You can't tell me the Lakers are not trying to send a message to the Dallas Mavericks.
Back here in Los Angeles, the NBA on TNT is presented by the United States Marine Corps. Dick Stockton, along with Reggie Miller, the czar Mike Fratello, and Cheryl Miller here. And we've had a little bit of everything. And including a scuffle, we've had 4 ejections, plus 3 individual technical fouls, and a 20-point lead, matching the Lakers' biggest advantage. They've outscored Dallas 11-2 in the latest run by the Lakers. Here's Dirk Nowitzki. Stojakovic from the corner. Nowitzki with the offensive rebound. Misses the fall away. Rebound by Bynum. Nowitzki, by the way, a double-double. He has 27 points and 12 rebounds. Chandler has 10 boards.
And Andrew Bynum, 16 points, 11 rebounds.
And Kobe Bryant with 27 is the leading scorer. Take a look at the West, where The Spurs lost their 5th in a row to the Celtics earlier tonight. All of their big three did play in the game, and a Laker victory tonight will make it a 2.5 game edge, but 2 in the loss column, and give the Lakers a 1.5 lead over Dallas for the 2nd seed.
Coach, but look at this. Oklahoma City will be only 2 behind Dallas. Do they want to move up to that 3rd spot? And that way you're going to be facing the Lakers in the 2nd round, versus if you stay in that 4th spot, you're probably going to get San Antonio if San Antonio wins their 1st round match in the 2nd round.
Well, I did speak with Scotty Brooks today, and I asked him that question, but he promised that I couldn't give the answer to you, so you'll have to wait a little bit.
I mean, do you really want to play the Lakers? I mean, eventually you're thinking you would have to play the Lakers. They're the defending champions. I'm just assuming that they get to the Western Conference Finals, but that's something teams think about. Do we want to face them in the 2nd round, or potentially in the Eastern or Western Conference Finals?
I did actually talk to Sky today. It was actually
don't bring it up if you're not going to tell us. What are you talking about?
It was just to congratulate them on what they've done. They won 50 games once again. He had played for me one time, so I just was saying hi to him. That's all.
Tip in by Bynum. Mike, don't tease us, please. Don't tease Reggie and I.
He didn't answer the question. I didn't bring that up. I just said congratulations.
Okay. Timeout called. Now that we got that settled, 105-82. Bynum has 18 points and 13 rebounds. He has been a tower of strength inside possible 1st round matchups. And I know Magic Johnson said, I don't want the Lakers to play the Trailblazers because there's a lot of hard feelings between those two. What are your thoughts on some of these guys?
Well, I think the Lakers always have a tough time when they go up to the Rose Garden to play Portland. Nate McMillan has done a fantastic job of patching all the pieces of the injured players together, and yeah, it would be I think the both Western and Eastern Conference, the 1st round is going to be unbelievable.
Substitutions in the game in the final minutes. Luke Walton making his 1st appearance for the Lakers. Deshaun Stevenson, Jan Mahinmi, are in for the Mavericks. Big 3-point explosion to end the 3rd and start the 4th, and that was really key to the Lakers' route here.
Yeah, I think the white flag has been thrown in by Rick Carlisle here in the Mavericks. Just under 5 minutes left.
There's no question about it. Look, his guys got the win last night. They started out this 6-game stretch with 3 straight wins. He knows they've been beaten tonight. He's not going to take a chance. He shouldn't have getting one of the key guys injured.
He's got back-to-backs coming up with Portland and Golden State to round out the 6-game road trip. So they're 3-1 right now, and we're going to see Joe Smith come into the game for the Lakers, and Lamar Odom goes out of the game to a big hand. 16 points for Lamar Odom, and countless other terrific plays at both ends of the floor. Fisher gets the bucket. And the biggest lead of the game, 25 points now for the Lakers, 107-82, under 3.5 to go.
I don't know. To me, I think you have a guy like Gasol out on the floor right now. Maybe it's time you say, Pal, come sit over here next to me.
Stevenson missing.
They do play tomorrow as well against Utah, in Utah.
So with San Antonio losing and the Lakers heading for the victory, they will now go to 2.5 behind the Spurs for the #1 seed in the West, 2 in the loss column, and still with 1 game to play. It'll be right here at the Staples Center on April the 12th. Well, here's George Lopez. At TBS weeknights, the comedy continues right after Conan. Don't miss Lopez Tonight, all new weeknights at 12/11 Central, only on TBS.
You may see an intentional foul taking place here very shortly, because Pau Gasol is who Phil Jackson wants to get out of this game. He's got Theo Ratliff at the table. The problem is Gasol got fouled, so he's got to shoot the free throws. But don't be surprised if they don't foul immediately to stop that clock and get him in.
When do we talk about golf and Jerry West hole-in-one this week as a charity event?
How about that?
Pretty good, huh? And of course, one of the great golfers. Always a terrific golfer. Had a hole-in-one in the 16th hole at Riviera Country Club. And what did he win odds are.
You know, I thought you always like win something like a car if you get a hole-in-one. He won 2 tickets for a Laker game.
Well, maybe it's a Spurs game. Maybe it's a good.
I understand he traded it in for a watch or something and then gave it to the Lakers Youth Foundation.
Yes, $8,000. You're absolutely right.
We auctioned it off. They auctioned it off.
Jerry West, who's a coach, general manager. Stevenson misses outside, and Joe Smith getting the rebound as we wind down to 2 minutes to go in the game. This game is winding down after a tremendous emotional contest.
That's why
Pau Gasol.
That's exactly why you get him out of the game sooner.
And now
that's exactly why you do it.
It's not over yet.
And now Shannon Brown's going to get thrown out because you know they're going to foul one of your starters. That's why you got to get Powell out of the game.
You're absolutely right.
That's exactly. I mean, you don't wait and let him go up and down, and you intentional foul if you're the Lakers.
That's why I said before, expect the intentional foul right away after the free throws to stop the clock and get him out of the game.
And I want to say this. I see where Shannon Brown is coming from because you got to protect one of your star players. Here's the hard foul by Brian Cardinal on the head of Pau Gasol.
And then Brown knocked Cardinal away, and just when you think things were going to just end with a whimper, more activity.
Look, there's messages, subtle or not, being sent from both ends. Whether it's Ron Artest kissing the biceps on his and one, the shove down by Jason Terry. And here's the offensive rebound here by Pau Gasol. Goes up. Hard foul by Cardinal.
I mean, there was no exceptionally hard foul. Remember, they were two teammates together. They happened to be very close when they were both in Memphis, Cardinal and Gasol.
But it's a message from Brian Cardinal and the Mavs. You're going to keep one of your stars when we've thrown in the white flag.
Right,
we have our bench players in, and you're going to keep one of your all-stars on the floor. Yeah, he's supposed to foul him like that.
5 ejections, 3 technical fouls. And again, the possibility of a second-round matchup between the Mavericks and the Lakers looms large. And remember, these teams have not played in postseason since 1988. It's been that long since Dallas has played the Lakers. A little surprising there. It's been that long.
And Coach, I see it on both ends. I see Shannon Brown protecting Pau Gasol, and I see Brian Cardinal with the hard foul, with the only, other than Derek Fisher, who has to be in because of Steve Blake being ejected earlier. I see the hard foul from Brian Cardinal. Nothing malicious, but a message. Well, that should have happened 4 minutes ago.
And Pau Gasol is going to go out of the game. And Theo Ratliff will replace him. Pau Gasol with 19 points. Seven of 14 from the field and 6 rebounds. Kobe Bryant scored 28 tonight. Bynum was a double-double with 18 points and 13 rebounds.
Coach, you know, we've done a number of Laker games, and whenever they get up, especially like this, we've seen these fans usually head towards the exit. Because of everything that has gone down tonight, look at everyone waiting around.
And
standing. It shows you the intensity between these two teams.
Well, one thing, if you're Dallas, you're going back, and next time you sit and have a meeting together, you've got to look and say, look, we did not show up for a huge game that people were counting on us to go nose to nose with these guys. And if we want to go somewhere, we've got to understand how this team, the Lakers, are capable of playing when it comes to important time.
Yeah, they showed up for a while. I mean, this was a tight game until middle to late third quarter.
And I'll go back to what Tyson Chandler told us. His thoughts of the Dallas Mavericks when he played for the Hornets and they were getting ready to face the Mavericks. We thought they were soft. We thought that we could bully them. We thought that if we attacked them and were the aggressor, they would back down. And there's a number of teams that believe the same way about the Dallas Mavericks.
Mavericks still have a lot to prove, and the Lakers really gaining impetus going into the playoffs to try to defend their NBA title. Odom had 16 points, all 11 in the 11-0 Laker run in the late third and early fourth quarters. Odom also had 10 rebounds, and that's the story. The Lakers will win their 8th in a row and go 16-1 since the All-Star break. 10 straight here at the Staples Center, and will end the Mavericks' 5-game winning streak. So the Lakers will be a game and a half ahead of Dallas for the second seed and climb to within 2.5 games, 2 in the loss column, of the San Antonio Spurs, who just about a week ago were up by 7 games overall in the West. So the final score, the Lakers 110 and the Dallas Mavericks 82, and Kobe Bryant is with Cheryl Miller.
Well, Kobe, obviously this game meant a lot to both teams. Playoff atmosphere. Talk about what message you guys were able to send tonight.
Well, I mean, it's a team that we could potentially see in the postseason, so it was important to come out and try to send some type of a message.
You guys have been on an unbelievable run since the All-Star break. What's been the turnaround?
It's focus. We minimize mental mistakes, and defensively we're very sharp right now.
Obviously, with San Antonio losing, you guys are going to get closer to that #1 spot. How do you feel about that?
Well, it don't really matter to us. I mean, you always want to be #1, you know what I mean? So, we just continue to play for the sake of getting that #1 seed, but the truth is we don't mind playing anybody anywhere.
It's nothing like a lot of pushing and shoving to get the playoff juices flowing.
Well, yeah, I mean, this was, a throwback type of a game. If this was the 80s, I'm not sure you have that many ejections. You probably just take the ball out and keep on playing.
All right, thanks a lot, Kobe.
You got it.
Send it back to you guys.
All right, Cheryl, thank you very much. So Kobe Bryant, high scorer with 28. Nowitzki had 27 in a losing cause. Our final score, the Lakers 110, the Mavericks 82. Coming up next, Inside the NBA. So for Reggie Miller, Mike Fratello, Cheryl Miller, and the rest of the crew, I'm Dick Stockton saying goodnight from Los Angeles. You've been watching the NBA on TNT, exclusive home of the 2011 NBA Eastern Conference Finals. Now, let's send it